Mother Knows Death. Starring Nicole and Jemmy and Maria QK.
Hi everyone, welcome to Mother Knows Death. On today's episode, we're going to talk about yet another situation where a Tesla caught on fire and the doors could not open. We will get into reasons why Meta glasses are a terrible idea. A foster dad with a pregnant wife and 8 kids busted with child porn on his phone while on a cruise. An airline lawsuit after a man had a stroke while flying. Human remains found in luggage at the airport, and stolen jewelry from a 3,000-year-old dead person. All that and more on today's episode.
All right.
Teslas are starting to be a little bit of a problem, it seems.
Well, they're certainly not having good press the last couple of weeks, but this might just be like, you know how like I've always personally been a Boeing truther, but like they were having a particularly bad year last year with bad negative press. All right, so in this case, a 43-year-old man was driving a Tesla with 3 kids when suddenly they crashed into a tree. And with the exception of one child who was able to get out, the guy and 2 of the other children burned alive in the car because first responders could not get the electronic doors open.
So I don't know if it was actually first responders or it was like, to me, it seemed like it was a guy that owned a business and it just so happened to have like the accident happened right across the street from where he was. And his immediate thought was like, I have a fire extinguisher right here. Let me run out to help these people. And he was there when it happened. And if the doors opened, he would have been able to pull them out right away. And he said that the car was so hot and he was not able to open the doors, you know, because their handles are like,
you have to like press them in to pull them out.
Yeah. So I feel like I don't know if it's possible if they just have some kind of safety feature when the car crashes that they just automatically pop out just because like I've never opened a Tesla before, so I don't even know how I would look at the handle and be like, what do I do here? Is it like very easy to figure out or like
no, listen, I'm a little dumb and everything, but like Dee Dee has one, right? So anytime she drives me, I'm like, how the fuck do you open your car door? Like I can't do it
like,
ever.
That's what I'm saying. Like I just feel like it's a problem. But more importantly, I guess I don't know what the problem is, but obviously when those cars catch on fire, they burn at much higher temperatures than a regular car would because of the battery. But I don't know if it's like a certain temperature or whatever, but so that is something to take into consideration, that the doors are just too hot to even touch. I don't know. I'd have to ask Gabe if like a regular car gets that hot too, I suppose. But
yeah,
they have gear. They have like gloves and stuff. I don't know.
Well,
but
do they have special protocols for these weird cars?
They're supposed to, like, I mean, because they just have to be handled a little bit differently, you know. But in this case, the doors, the electricity of the car shut off and the doors wouldn't open. And think about this from this guy's perspective, that he was trying to be a bystander hero and like go up to a car that was on fire and try to save people, and think about being on the other side and watching that happen and just being out of your control. Totally. I mean, by the time fire department would get there, it would almost just be that couple minutes is the difference between life and death, you know?
Yeah, and I don't really know what was going on in this situation because it didn't say all the kids were the man's and they were all 9 years old. So unless he had triplets, I would assume 1 or 2 of the kids was his and a friend maybe. But this is absolutely horrific. I can't possibly imagine that. Like you're saying, I can't imagine what the bystander was going through, literally watching people burn alive in a car and not being able to do anything about it.
It has to be a specific set of circumstances, because I've heard about it maybe like 4 times this year. And I feel like every time it happens, we're going to hear about it. But in the grand scheme of like how many Teslas there are on the road and how many of them catch on fire, it's like it's not happening all the time. So it has to be a combination of something that's causing the electricity to cut out. But I mean, it's technology, so that's going to happen, right? I complain about it with my car. Like, every once in a while it's just like, oh, I'm not turning the screen on here, and then like I can't even control my heat and stuff. It drives me nuts.
Yeah. All right. This TikTok has been going viral over the last couple weeks where this woman is explaining that she's been a customer of European Wax Center for almost a decade. And when she was at her last appointment, she realized in the middle of it that her waxer was wearing the Meta AI glasses.
You know, didn't we have a story a couple weeks ago that we ended up cutting for whatever reason about someone had these Meta AI glasses on, or maybe it was just like a video I sent you on Instagram or something. Did I send you a video on Instagram that was showing you the view of the Meta glasses and showing how you can go up? So you could go up to a person and take their picture, and then you could Google image search their picture, and then you could find their social media, and then you could get their name, and you could go up to them and be like, "Hi, Sophia, how are you? Do you remember me?" Like,
I don't
it's
remember seeing this, and that bothers me a
maybe I
lot.
sent it to Gabe. It just like I'll look for it because it was within the past couple of weeks, and I was just like, why the fuck did they make this technology? Like, what? Like, why?
It's pointless to me. The only positive example I've seen is when where was there just really bad flooding? There was a flood really bad somewhere in the last couple of months, and somebody used their Meta glasses to like record the damage in their home, right?
Yeah, that
That
you could also use your phone. That's just total
exactly.
bullshit.
Exactly. But it's the only example I was like, okay, this seems practical in this case, but also not necessary. But in this case, this girl's concern is that she's mid wax appointment, and even though she called the girl out and she said they were off and the battery was dead and whatever, she doesn't know if that's true. And what if this person is taking footage during these wax appointments and uploading them on a porn site or making money off of them somehow?
Is there a way that you can, like, are these very identifiable if someone's wearing them? Because they're just, aren't they like straight up like Wayfair, like Ray-Ban glasses?
They look like regular Ray-Bans, but maybe there's something on the arm of it suggesting what they are. And I don't know. Like, I've never really seen it. And now that we've looked at this article, maybe I'd be more hip to the model they are. But they look pretty much like normal glasses, but maybe on the side it says Meta or something.
There has to be a way that you could tell, because in this article they said that there was this exotic dancer who said that people were coming in and trying to wear these glasses, and like the bouncers are like, you're not coming in here with those glasses on.
Yeah, you must be able to tell in some capacity.
I
But
just like I just like, this is one of those things that I'm just like, I really cannot, I can't understand how the good would outweigh the bad on this. This is just for every creepster, voyeur, weirdo. Like, I mean, obviously, like, Zuckerberg made them, so like there you go, I guess. But really, like, it's just so bad, and it's scary because let's say someone like Mom was going to a procedure or something, like a gynecologist appointment, and someone was wearing them. Like, like, some people don't even know those things exist.
well,
Like,
exactly.
How often is this being used for bad things?
I would say it's only being used for bad things. I'm not a total idiot. I know that most places you go outside, you're under like 24/7 surveillance, but is it necessary to be in people's glasses where like you can't even have an interaction at Starbucks or something without somebody being able to pull up all your information and possibly where you live just by looking at you?
Yeah, I just don't like that even a little bit. Like, God,
And
I'm
like,
just thinking about like how terrible that could just be. Like, people could start like OnlyFans pages and stuff.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
See, and then that makes me think about OnlyFans. Like, they have to have some kind of monitoring on OnlyFans, right?
well,
Like,
I
let's
don't
say,
know.
for example, this waxing person was videotaping their clients getting waxed, and then it's like there's that whole fetish of like, oh, these people don't know they're being filmed. That's like a thing, right? And
Yeah.
then like you're like hurting them like near their vagina and stuff like that. If those videos started going on someone's OnlyFans page, which are clearly like not taken with consent, like, is there a way for them to monitor that? because there has to be people doing. We actually have a story that we're going to talk about on the YouTube live in the gross room this week about this very thing, about just like weird shit people are doing on OnlyFans. But like, there has to be people that are like pushing it beyond like.
Oh, totally.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
do they have some sophisticated AI that could pick up certain things like that, or
I don't know how they're
like
they
how
have
do they
to-
get like child sexual abuse? How do they know how old these people like? You
well,
know
they
what I
have
mean?
to have a monitoring in some capacity because of stuff with like children, but like you're saying, there's fetish murders and stuff. So I don't know, like a lot of people on this video in the comments were saying you should call the police, and while I think in some cases that could be dramatic, like I would be really upset if this happened to me, because even though the person's saying they're dead and it might have just been a truly innocent mistake that they like wore those glasses that day or they weren't thinking about it, I would not be comfortable with the potential of like I'm going in to get my vag waxed and now my vagina might be splayed all over the internet.
Yeah, I think that's police worthy.
Because they
do.
need to
Because
investigate that.
if you had a camera on the wall, you would absolutely be like, they're filming me. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's even worse because like you could get all up in there with the glasses. Like,
and the
no.
and the police is saying they looked into it and confirmed they were dead. Like, how do they know that?
I don't care if they're dead. I don't even want them on your face.
Yeah, exactly.
Like-
Like they shouldn't be allowed to be in there. You shouldn't be allowed to really
God,
wear them
I
to
never
any
even,
job.
Like, and I understand that they're prescription glasses. I saw, like, I didn't actually like look at what they looked like, but I saw that when I walked by Lens Crafters, they sell them there. So I'll go in there next time just to see what they look like. But I'm like, people are getting them as regular glasses. So I'm going to try to find this video and then I'll post it in the gross room about the point of view from the glasses, like to see what they look like for people and what they're capable of people. It's so disturbing.
Yeah, I'm really not for this, and I don't, I just don't see the purpose in having them. They just seem kind of dumb. All right, a foster dad was on a cruise with his pregnant wife and 8 of their kids, 7 of whom were foster kids that they adopted, and altogether they fostered 20 kids. So these kids were ages 5 through 12, and at the end of the cruise, this guy gets busted for having child porn on his phone.
So this is like really crazy because I didn't even know this, and I had this written down that the guy, so he was in Miami coming off of the cruise, or was he going on to the cruise?
No, he was coming off the cruise.
All right, so he's coming off the cruise in Miami, and he got picked to be a random secondary screening.
That wasn't random.
It said that it was.
It said it was random, but then it was like he gave them the password to his phone and they went in Google Photos and found a folder marked 6-year-old rare, and there was 45 photos of child pornography.
But like, why?
They don't search the contents of the inside of your phone during a security search.
All right, that's what I'm trying to check, because they said in the article that he was randomly picked aside.
I don't
and
believe
he
that at all.
willingly gave his password, and I was just like, whoa, is that something that they like can do? Because I guess they're checking to see, because they did that with us, right? When we came from Bermuda, they were just checking to see, like,
they don't look inside your phone. You pull up a barcode that's like your ticket, and like they scan it.
Didn't they check to see if we like we were what the stuff we were bringing in?
Yeah, you go through security like TSA.
Okay, so they did a secondary thing, and he willingly because they did that with when we went on, when we got to the ship, they did that, and then I had to go through a separate security thing. Remember, because I tried to smuggle in my electric blanket, and they thought I was a risk, but they weren't like, here, let me look in your phone.
Unless there's a magic device that scans your phone and is able to pull up things like this, they knew exactly what they were looking for, and they used it as an excuse to catch him. Because why are they going on his phone in general and then into his Google Photos and then into this folder? Like, they knew it was there.
Yeah, that's what was like freak. Like,
For
listen,
example,
the whole story is like, surprise, like the foster system screwed up, but like I was more shocked about, oh, they're just like allowed to go through your phone like that.
For example, this is why I don't believe it. In December, we were in Lake Placid. we were very close to Canada, and we were like, instead of staying one more night at the hotel in Lake Placid, why don't we go to Montreal for a night? I brought my incorrect passport. I brought my old one. We did not realize it until we were almost in Canada. Because I have an active passport, they were going to let us go through, but they had to search the car. And let me tell you, they searched the entire car. We both got interrogated about what we were doing there. What hotel are you staying at? What time is the check-in? What hockey game are you going to? Who's playing that team? What time does that game start? Like, full-blown interrogation, 45 minutes. They searched every crevice of the car. At no point did they look in my phone.
But like, wouldn't they have to have like a search warrant to do that?
Yes, this is what I'm saying.
But
Something is not adding
in the
up.
article though, they said that he willingly gave them his phone. Like, was he just like seriously, like, is it possible they pulled him over for this secondary screening and he was just like, here you go, look in my phone. I swear I have nothing to hide. And
but
like,
then you go through all the apps like Google, like why would you even look in Google Photos?
Because I feel like none of that stuff would be able to be held up in court if it wasn't with like the proper paperwork associated with it. Right?
This story is either way misreported or
well, regardless, this guy, like, the thing is with foster care, I do believe that there's genuinely people that just have a broken heart for like a soft spot for these kids that need a home. But I also think that they need to be, you know how like it's really hard to adopt a kid because they want to make sure, they need to be like that with foster parents too, because some of them are using the situation just to make money a month. Others, like, I'm sorry, like there's going to be sexual predators. And the fact that this guy's had 20 foster children, like, who are those 6-year-olds that are on his phone? Are they ones that he fostered?
exactly.
Are they, like, is that what he's doing? And, like, it's also very weird because I just saw that we just had one in Camden County, another one, 4 dudes busted this week for child porn.
Somebody I went to high school with just got busted for it.
And it's like, you think about when you meet people and stuff, you're just like, oh, I'm into gardening. Oh, yeah, let's meet at the garden center and go to this class, whatever. Like, how does it come up in conversation that you like to jerk off looking at pictures of naked little kids? How do you make a
Exactly.
friend and talk about that out loud, that you share files with these people?
Well,
It's
I
so
think they're
fucking
meeting
weird.
in like these weird chat rooms and stuff, and then meeting up in person.
Like, how does it, like, it's so,
listen,
it's just so
I don't
weird.
understand how it goes down, but like it's happening a lot.
Just because it's like not, because it's not just like I understand like I've dated people before. I understand how you go from like a stranger to like talking about having sex with somebody or whatever, but like that's like pedophilia is so frowned upon. It's like the worst thing that if you're not into it, it's either like you're into it and it's the best thing ever, or you're like the most disgusting person ever, right? So how do you feel comfortable?
There's a lot of people in the middle that are pretty lax about it, honestly.
Yeah, well, those people just need to go away. But regardless, like how do you feel comfortable enough with a stranger to like bring that up, that you're into that, and you both decide, like, you both get into the fact that you're into that?
I have no idea.
It's so weird to me.
It's disgusting.
It's like meeting a stranger and just being like, you know, I really want to kill someone. You want to kill like something like so perverse and weird. It's just like, and you're like, no, I'm serious. Like, let's do that. Like, it's just weird. I just can't wrap my head around it. And it happens like a lot.
Yeah.
So this guy's sharing these files with someone on Google. Google
Unless
doesn't have a way to check this shit out either, by the way.
Unless he specifically wanted to be caught and was like, take a look at this. There is something not adding up in this story.
So so the wife's pregnant and they have 8 kids with them on this cruise. Like,
Cruises
you also have to question,
are sinister.
If you also have to question, like, and let's be honest, like, if you have 8 kids and one on the way, like, why do you want to be a foster parent? Like, their kids are annoying, and especially if you have 8 kids, they're really annoying.
7 of the kids are their foster kids.
But why
that
would you
they've
want to take
adopted.
more? Like, I don't know. And they let them adopt 7 children?
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know. It's just kind of like,
Is it better? Obviously, this person's a pedophile, so like, let's remove this. But I'm saying, think of a normal couple that's going to adopt all those children. Is it better for the kid to be living in the system its whole life, or just have living in a more stable environment with more children? Like,
I
think
don't know.
about that.
I don't know, because then I start to question, like, what person in their right mind would want to have that many children? Like, you can't even pay attention to that many children, right? So it's like I would start thinking, like, what are they doing with these children?
Well, I
don't
don't
know.
even
Like,
think it's necessary. I don't think anybody like wakes up and they're like, well, some people do. Some people are going to wake up and be like, I want 10 children. But I think a lot of people that have a lot of children like this, taking away this case, is people that are like extremely religious, don't believe in birth control, things like that. And then they just like go with the flow.
and that's fine. But like when I don't know, just the adoption thing. Like I said, like they should just be like a little bit more. And obviously, like maybe they did do a lot, but how are they going to know, like, somebody has this on their phone? And then, like, you're this woman, you're married to this guy. This isn't like you're looking at 17-year-olds that are barely underage. It's like you're looking at you're like seriously such a disgusting person. Like,
it's repulsive.
I don't even like, then I would never let my kids go see him again. Like, and now she's going to be a single mom of 20 kids or whatever. Like,
well, they will have 9 children when she gives birth, but he is facing 30 years in prison, and I think he should just be set on fire. This episode is brought to you by The Gross Room.
Well, speaking of setting people on fire, there's a lot of cases of that in The Gross Room. It sounds like, we were just talking about that Tesla case, and it just sounds like a horrific death, honestly. Like, up there with something you never want to happen with you. We have our YouTube Live this Friday. We're going to talk about that OnlyFans case, which is super interesting, along with other things.
And we had the best YouTube Live of all last week. There was lots of laughs. Everybody was having a good
crying.
time.
Like, my mascara got messed up because I was crying laughing so hard.
Yeah, we were having a real good time.
What's his name made an appearance?
No, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Okay.
Don't spoil it. He'll be a recurring character.
Some really insane looking person. I'll just give you a little hint. We were talking about certain people that kill people that are very good looking versus ones that are not. And
everybody will know.
Well, what? That we were talking about Luigi for sure. But no, we're not going to talk about who the other people were. But
the good thing about YouTube Live is you can go back and watch it after we're done.
Yeah. And it's live, so there you go. We can't even restrain ourselves. Plus, that was just after a really crazy day of just running around, and it was fun though. So so check that out in The Gross Room. And we'll also have Forensic Friday this week. Last week we did brain contusions or bruises that you would see if a person got beat with a baseball bat, in a real case of a person that got beat to death with a baseball bat. And this week I don't know what I'll do. Kind of just like go with the flow and see what I feel like writing about. So it'll be good. Check it out.
Head over to thegrossroom.com now to sign up. All right, so American Airlines has to pay $11 million to a passenger after he had a stroke on a flight, and it was determined they didn't follow proper protocols.
Yeah, so, God, $11 million is so much. So then I was like, okay, something definitely happened. But I'm just like, how is it their fault that this guy had a stroke? But then when I read the story, I'm like, oh, okay, this is really bad. So apparently they were getting ready to take off, and they were still taxied outside. And the wife noticed that her husband couldn't use his hands to use his phone, and he couldn't speak. And she was so freaked out by it, she went to the stewardess and talked to the pilot and was just like, I think my husband's having a stroke. And they kind of blew her off. They didn't call any medical professionals. Normally they'll be like, is there a doctor on the plane? Nothing. And they took off. And then during the flight, while they were over the ocean on their way to Spain, he did stroke out. And they weren't able to go to the hospital until they landed in Spain, go to the hospital. And, we'll talk about this in a little bit of why it's so important that a stroke gets recognized immediately. But so much time went by that now he's permanently disabled. And the wife is now like his caregiver. And if they would have went to the hospital within 15 or 20 minutes of him presenting with those symptoms, he would likely be like walking and talking and fine. And now he could no longer speak. He can't write. He needs daily care. And I think it's 100% like this is a lawsuit worthy thing, I think, because I mean, think about when you're on an airplane, you're trapped on the airplane. And if they had an opportunity to get her off because they didn't even take off yet, it's just like completely irresponsible.
Even if they just took off 5 minutes before and she expressed this concern, they should have turned around because, like, I'm sorry, but like people just don't stop speaking and can't use their hands all of a sudden unless they're having an episode.
Yeah. And like, listen, this would have been a totally different situation if they were midair over the ocean and that's when he first presented with symptoms. Then, like, it is what it is. It's going to take you 4 or 5 hours to get where you're going. And, like, all they could do is still call a doctor on the plane and see if there's anything that they can do. But you just kind of got to wait to get to the hospital. So when you have a stroke, there's an acronym that everybody should know, really. Everybody that's a human should know, but really definitely important if you're in a situation where you work at like anywhere, a school, an airport, a bus, anything that you are in charge of people, right? EMS, fire, police, anything like that. Any single time. So the acronym is called Be Fast. And the reason that it's that is because the faster you get to the hospital, the more likely you will not have long-term effects or die from this. So it's likely that this guy had an ischemic stroke because that's the most common kind of stroke. And that occurs when there's some kind of a blockage in one of the arteries in your neck or in your brain that cause oxygen from your heart to not be able to get to your brain. So the longer you don't have oxygen going to that part of your brain, the more likely it is that you're going to have these serious side effects from this. So be fast. So the B stands for balance. Is the person having a loss of balance or coordination? E, eyes. Is there a change in vision? F, face drooping to one side. Is their face drooping? Do they look like they're kind of slurring with their speech? A is arms, weakness in the limb. So this guy already, we know, was having the weakness in his limbs. He wasn't able to pick up his phone. The next one is S, speech, difficulty speaking to others. So we know that happened too. So he had 2 of these things. And then T of the Be Fast is time. Call 911 right away. Right away. And then he's actually lucky that he's not like comatose or dead, honestly. And then think about this. You're an American and now you're going to Spain to get medical treatment. Not to say that they're not totally capable of it. They are.
It's just unfamiliar.
It's unfamiliar, and I would feel a lot more comfortable if my husband was in a hospital in Miami instead of Spain, just because, like, I don't speak the language. I don't understand how things work over there. Like, I just would feel more comfortable being in America. And I get that that's a risk of traveling abroad and stuff like that, but, like, it just didn't have to go down like that.
Well, he was in critical condition in Spain for 3 weeks, and then he had to return to the U.S. via air ambulance, which I'm just sure is so absolutely scary to go through.
And like, what does that cost?
Is flight like 5 or 6 hours?
Yes.
So, okay, so he started showing symptoms of it before they even took off, and then it was developing over 6 hours.
Yeah. I think, like, the fact that he was showing those symptoms, because, you know, you're married to somebody or anybody. This happened to one of my friends when I was rotating, he was working at the ME's office. Like, he was at work. He was older than me, you know, and he was at work, and somebody was like, dude, something's wrong with your face. And he went to the hospital, and they were like, you're having a stroke. And he wouldn't even have known, because, like, sometimes you don't know it yourself. And that person in his office, like, saved his life. Like
Well,
if
yeah.
something like if you see something like that, like in a person, especially like someone that's like, over 50 years old, you should just be like bring it to their attention, because sometimes you have like these little signs of it before like the big event happens. And in that case, like specifically because they said that he didn't really stroke out until they were over the ocean, which, I mean, they were in Miami, so they would have been over the ocean pretty quickly. But if they would have went to the hospital and got in an ambulance within 15 or 20 minutes, the outcome would have been 100%. And I think with all the medical experts and stuff at the trial, like they were able to prove that. And that's why they got offered $11 million.
Well, this is an interesting thing I wanted to bring up. So, like, obviously they got the lawsuit happened and then it was brought to trial, but then it's saying the jury awarded 13.28 million in damages, but then reduced the amount by 27.5% after assigning partial responsibility to the plaintiffs, leaving the amount at 9.6 million, and then with interest it turned into the 11 million.
So the partial responsibility. So I was thinking this too, like if this happened with me and with Gabe and I was 100%, and like take me being out a medical person, like just me being like something's wrong here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they saying like she should have caused more of a scene? She shouldn't have just been like, okay, I guess.
Well, I just don't
Like
think that's really fair.
I
when you're
think
in that
I think if
situation.
I was that scared, I'd be like, you know what? Like, have the marshals take me off the plane in handcuffs. Like, get my husband to a freaking hospital right now.
No,
like,
totally.
but like, if you have a bunch of people kind of telling you that you're overreacting and something's not a big deal, listen, they gave her a lot of money for a reason, because like they were wrong.
Well,
Bottom line.
because there was like something about them making jokes about it too,
Yeah.
the airline staff, which inappropriate. All right, speaking of airlines, at Tampa's airport, a passenger had supposedly declared 10 cigars in his luggage. However, when the bag was searched, security found a slew of prohibited items, including plants, undeclared cigars, and a foil-wrapped duffel bag containing what appeared to be human remains.
And he said it was first like a ritual or something.
Yeah, you're like, that makes you more guilty. What?
I don't know. Like so when I'm looking, so you see that these is it a border patrol agent? Is that what it is? Like,
yeah, border and customs, I think.
so they have like this piece of like tinfoil unwrapped. There's definitely what appears to be a human skull, and you can see a mandible and some vertebral bones. But the bones that are next to the skull, I'm not 100% sure that they're human. Just because they're very short and thick, and I don't know, they just look like a little, I guess they could be like, they would have to be for the length of them, like hands or feet bones, but I don't know. They just look very like fat.
Like something looks off.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the one picture, and obviously I didn't touch him in my hand and stuff, but like it's possible if he's really like, listen, like people could totally be doing a ritual. We had this whole conversation. If you guys didn't listen to our episode with Dr. Paul Kunaris that we had on last week, we actually like talk about this very subject, about just like the different things that people do in other countries when people die, but more importantly, like how you can go to like Bolivia or something and just be like, I want to get a skull for $5, and they would sell it to you. But like how you can't take it back home because like of what just happened right now. They put it through x-ray and they're like, this is a human skull. You're not having this. So they took this from this guy and they said they destroyed it because of health reasons or something, which I think is a little weird, because I'm like,
yeah, I thought that was weird.
Skeleton isn't posing any health reasons. And on top of that, did you just take it from them and say like, oh, we're getting rid of this. Okay, bye. Like, cause like where did that come
investigation?
from? I guess not. Like if
Were
you're
they
coming from another country, but you're just kind of like, oh, cool. So you could like kill someone in another country, take their bones over to America, and they'll just be like, yeah, we're trashing these. They're biohazard. Bye. Like on your way, like, I don't know.
Again, just another story with not enough information.
Yeah. And like, it's just totally possible though, that like he just bought, who the frick knows what people do, right? I just think like it's like just from people that work in the airport in general and customs and stuff, like the one that just happened on the cruise too. You're just like, they probably have some really good stories to tell of the shit that they see.
You know, my dream book, when I was in Vegas, we were on the elevator with the cleaning people, and they were talking about like something weird they found. And I was like, you guys have to write a book of the weird stuff you find in
yeah.
hotel rooms.
Yeah, that's probably really juicy too.
Especially in Las Vegas, because people get
Oh
extra
God,
crazy
yeah.
there.
Well, and plus when we were talking about the Diddy trial and stuff, it's like they were getting like pools with baby oil and shit, and you're just like, what do people do in hotel rooms? Like,
Exactly. All right, last. Earlier this month, a 3,000-year-old bracelet that was on a mummy at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo went missing, and it turns out that a restoration specialist stole it and melted it down for gold.
bullshit. Listen,
What's the bullshit?
you're a restoration specialist. You know how much that shit's worth. You did not just take it for the gold to get $4,000 worth of melted gold.
Unless
That
you're a
did not
junkie and you have a gambling debt and you just needed any money.
Yeah,
But yes,
which
I
is
agree with you.
which is totally possible that that this restoration specialist at this prestigious museum in Cairo is a junkie that's on meth that's just like trying to sell off this to the local pawn shop, right? But I think that they're trying to trace it, and they're just like, well, we melted it. What are you gonna do? It still exists. Trust me, it still
Exactly.
exists. It's worth. Like, I can't even tell you how
priceless.
much that it's priceless. It's from a 3,000-year-old mummy.
A
Like,
pharaoh, too,
I would
not just
definitely
any
pay
mummy.
more than $4,000 for that shit. Like, come on, that's
The
cool.
only reason I could see it actually going down is if this person's like a true degenerate and like was like, I just need quick cash and I know I could get a couple thousand
that
for
didn't
this.
happen. Listen, if you're a person that like restores mummies, you know how much that stuff goes for. They probably sold it to someone that's just like an independent collector that paid like hundreds of thousands of dollars for it, and it like paid off their house and all this stuff, and it's like, oh, sorry, I got it melted.
Yeah, but you're still gonna go to jail. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
just so...
but like you got they don't know what happened with the money of it. I'm telling you right now, like I just don't buy it.
So can you even fathom how you would pronounce this mummy's name?
No,
I looked it up
didn't
4 times and I still can't say it. Well, I'm not gonna try to say it, but it starts with an A, and it was a little known but intriguing sovereign of Egypt's 21st dynasty, ruling from 1001 to 1001 to 992 BC.
Yeah,
The going
like,
backwards
you have
is like...
a bracelet from that time period, and you're gonna be like, yeah, I hawked it for gold. Like, no.
Unless you're a true piece of shit in need of some quick cash.
I don't know if there's that level of piece of shit there. They're like that whole like meth head selling your stuff off at the local bar. Like, no, that's like specific to the United States.
It was really probably specific to Philadelphia.
These people know what that, like, listen, I'm going to go as far as to say is if you're Egyptian and you live in Egypt, like, that was like a huge thing, right? Like, they would rob the graves and stuff, and a lot of them didn't have a lot of things in them because people were taking all of these treasures and selling them for big bucks. Now that there's really not that much left, like, I don't buy it. Like, I just don't buy it.
Well, also, like, the way it was worded at first was, like, museum employee steals it. And this is not any museum employee. It's not like a rando ticket person that somehow was able to get it. It's a person that specializes in restoring them. So you would assume this is a highly educated person that did this.
Well, also, because, like, I'm thinking about the area at the University of Penn Museum where they clean up the mummies and stuff like that. And it's, like, behind plexiglass, like, I doubt that anybody could just go back there. There's probably like special clearance because they don't want people touching it and getting their fingerprints. Like, these people are wearing gloves while they're handling these things. It's like not everyone has access to that like that. They know, trust me, like this is like a well planned out way to get a bunch of money, and there's no tracing it. Like, they said first they called a silver dealer who then contacted a gold dealer who then was just like, I'm going to melt this down and it's $4,000 worth of gold. Like, there's no way that 3 people would touch that thing and be like, yeah, this is a good idea.
It's just,
That are from Egypt that know how much that stuff is worth.
exactly. It's essentially a priceless heirloom.
Like, think about how much didn't Kim Kardashian spend like some insane amount of money on a necklace that Princess Diana had?
yes. I mean, her
okay.
original sheep sweater, the one she wore on her body, sold at Sotheby's for $1 million.
Okay. That's a sweater that's not even a piece of jewelry that'll last forever, right? And it's Princess Diana. This is like a pharaoh. Like, what are
Yes.
you talking about? This thing is worth millions of dollars. Whatever.
I think there
They
needs
need
to
to
be.
do. Yeah, I hope they're listening to our show because they need to like do a better investigation of this.
They also need to make National Treasure Cairo edition.
Yes.
I'm invested in how this went down. Okay, guys. We are going to be at the Wildlife CSI Lake Tobias Wildlife Park next Friday. I can't believe that's in a week.
I'm so
came up very
excited about
quick.
that.
It's going to be so cool. And then the following week, we're going to be sponsoring the golf carts, and I will be volunteering at the Keeping Hope Alive IVF Golf Classic. And the following weekend, we will be at Darkside, New Jersey in Edison. If you have reviews for us, please head over to Apple or Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you have a story for us, please submit it to stories@motherknowsdeath.com, and we will be back tomorrow with a very special episode.
Awesome. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for listening to Mother Knows Death. As a reminder, my training is as a pathologist assistant. I have a master's level education and specialize in anatomy and pathology education. I am not a doctor and I have not diagnosed or treated anyone, dead or alive, without the assistance of a licensed medical doctor. This show, my website, and social media accounts are designed to educate and inform people based on my experience working in pathology so they can make healthier decisions regarding their life and well-being. Always remember that science is changing every day and the opinions expressed in this episode are based on my knowledge of those subjects at the time of publication. If you are having a medical problem, have a medical question, or are having a medical emergency, please contact your physician or visit an urgent care center, emergency room, or hospital. Please rate, review, and subscribe to Mother Knows Death on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you get podcasts. Thanks.